Thank you, Samir, for joining us. It's been a while since we met, and I'm sure our audience has also been very
Since
patient.
we met for Dhan Ki
Yeah,
Baat.
for Dhan Ki Baat. Yes. Sorry for that. It's been a while since we did our Dhan Ki Baat series. So let me start off with the real exciting one that we came up with. We had a cell call on IT. We started doing that in February of 25 and stuck onto that call despite all the choppiness in the market. So basically, one, just go back to that and share your thoughts on that. And secondly, what now in IT?
So, since you said since 1 year, we've also been talking about it for 1 year. So, when we started this firm, we wanted to borrow or learn from the best and what are their features, mutual funds. And we said one mutual fund meets investors once a year and therefore is very transparent. We do not meet, but we tell our views literally every day. What is the view on the budget? What is the view on STT? What is the view on war? Whether there will be peace? Anyway, so we've been, yeah, openly negative. But the good thing is that, every 1 or 2 years, you need one or two big trends to catch, and then you're okay for that year. So 3, 4 years ago, we got this buy at any price thing, right? That don't buy at any price. Wale stocks, BAP stocks,
Yeah.
these old high quality stocks with high valuation. So that worked for 1 or 2 years. I'd even shorted half of those stocks, which I didn't own in our long short fund. And now, big picture, we've got the IT right, so good. But now, from here on, what to do? I would think that basically, like there are many buy and hold stocks, or sorry, buy and forget
We get.
stocks. Buy and hold. There can also be a group which is sell and forget.
Right.
Forget about shorting. By the way, just for everybody's disclosure, as of today, I am short most of these stocks. But in the long only, obviously, it's just sell, which we have sold 1 year ago, and we forget. You don't have to look at it every day now. Obviously, you have to monitor them. Then one day the management will come and say, we are getting 6% growth instead of 1% growth or 5% growth. The stock would have gone up 10% before you even realize, and then you can start. There is no need to analyze every day कि 18p is good or 17p is good. Broadly, you know from reading, which today I learned that Mr. Rhythm Desai Singh don't even read, but from reading, you don't have to read only books, you can read newspapers also. That abhi the uncertainty is too high.
Yeah.
It is so high that people who are buying now cannot say that they are buying because it is cheap. They are gambling because nobody knows. So if nobody knows, it's like a toss of a coin. You should know a little bit. Can't say I think like this and I think like that. A little bit should be there. In fact, I think that now it is very easy, at least in India, to know the different styles of fund managers. Or if somebody bought these stocks in March and has sold them in April, I would put them on the
Yeah.
top. We didn't do that because we never bought them in March or Feb. But people who can switch, turn, even a little bit.
Right.
But you will find many people who would have not sold a single share or added.
Or added.
We are basically signaling that, yeah, you're too whatever rigid in your views, and rigidity is not a great quality in fund managers. But who knows? But anyway, bottom line is, as of now, for the general public and even for our fund, we would say, now that you've sold, forget about it and move on in life.
So basically, till the time don't see growth, we won't be
The
interested in
growth
that.
was, or it should look blatantly cheap
Yeah.
as if it is some dead product.
Right.
Yeah, then
Okay, that's what the
also
yield.
value means 6, 8p then.
Right. I know
Because then
that.
we're getting some earnings yield is 5, 6%, not dividend. Earnings yield है चलो ठीक है चलता रहेगा. अभी तो they are still debating whether to do buyback or to do this. I mean, 2 months
Right.
ago, if you do buyback, who's going to buy your stock?
I mean, what happens to, you must have seen the Bernstein letter also about that IT services sector has contributed so much to the economy and
Yeah, yeah.
demand will go off. And so, what's your view on
That's
that?
not to do with Bernstein. That is an old thing. Everybody
Yeah.
asks that if you're negative on IT, does that mean you have to be negative on consumer and real estate, travel, hotels? Because obviously, IT sector directly to the jobs, which are higher paying jobs than normal jobs, and the second round of jobs of people who are supporting these guys, their drivers and their maids and their whatever real estate provider and whatever. So that is a good question. And therefore, because I'm going to US next week, so I knew these questions will come and they've been coming forever. So I collected this data because I always had this in the back of my mind, but now I have them lit, I mean, like exact numbers. So there are 54 lakh IT jobs as per Google and all these guys and Claude. And 3 years ago, there were 45 lakhs. So that is not a bad growth. But when you look at the listed companies, the growth rate is much lower. This is the total IT
Right.
employees. And the reason for that is the listed guys are not growing. So out of this 54 lakh, 35 lakh are in IT companies. The rest are in GCCs or global capability centers. So if you look at
Right.
mostly, I guess they'll all be listed, these IT companies. 35 lakhs. This was 31 lakhs 3 years ago. So
Right.
that looks very depressing now. Ki 31 has become 35, which is say 9-10% growth over 3 years.
Right.
Okay. 10-12%. So that means some 3-4% growth per annum. And that also may have happened in the first 2 years, and last year or the current year might be zero or whatever. So इसलिए लोग कहते हैं IT is not growing. But in the same country, which is India, the GCC, which is these MNCs opening their own
Right.
centers in India, the number of employees were 14 lakhs 3 years ago, and now they are 19 lakhs. So मतलब वो हो गया 5 and 14, some whatever 35.
36, 37. Yeah.
That is over 3 years. So हो गया
Right.
मतलब 11-12% per annum. That's why the combined number doesn't look bad. 45 to 54 is okay.
Yeah.
So the point is that just like we make, not we mean us, but we as in the market, makes mistakes by looking only at listed companies to say what is the market and what is this thing without realizing there are unlisted companies, there are private equity funded companies. Like, for example, in air conditioning, I remember previously we used to think air conditioning, oh, therefore buy one or two of these listed guys. But
Right.
not realizing there are 15 unlisted guys who are putting pressure on the listed guy, the Koreans, the Japanese, or पता नहीं कौन से Chinese. So it's the same here that the GCC guys are growing. That means the MNC parent is choosing to do business on their own also, which was not the case before. Maybe they were not comfortable with India or with being able to deal with so many employees. And now they feel that हाँ, we can handle it. Or maybe they are more senior guys in their own firms.
Right.
Of course, nowadays the CEOs also are Indians, but if not, the IT guys are mostly Indian. So maybe some Indian guy in the firm there convince the firm that let us open a GCC and I will be the head and you can pay me in dollars and I'm moving to Bangalore, whatever. But now there are nearly 2,000 GCCs. So when we talk about writing off India, just because IT listed is not growing, not so fast. So that's why not
Right.
negative on everything else. Second thing is that we have been all as market participants unhappy that private equity guys are selling and they are raising a lot of money and mostly they are raising dollars and going away. But all these companies, when they are going public, unleash a
Yeah.
number of millionaires and near billionaires also because of
Right.
ESOPs. And those are all technically, not technically, more or less mota mati Indian IT
Right.
guys. These startups are most tech oriented mostly. Even in a company like Lenskart, they say it is tech, AI driven and हम automatic वो करेंगे and whatever. What I mean is even a retail guy is
Right.
presenting. So if these guys get lot of ESOPs and options and higher salaries, at least the successful ones, that each fellow is equal to 10 of the traditional IT
True.
employees in terms of money spending ability. Just like consumerism and all is not going to come down. And if you want to say otherwise, then you can say last 2 quarters, I mean, this last quarters, where results from IT consumer companies doesn't
Right.
seem to be that anybody else is affected. It's the listed IT guys.
So, Samir, next question obviously comes from this only. IT guys are more or less large cap guys.
Hmm.
And nowadays, the argument being thrown by various fund managers is that large caps look very attractive because they're back to their mean last 10 years, 15-year averages and stuff like that. With this growth rates, do you think that's
So in aggregate, if you look at the market, a large cap weightage will be, I guess, 70%.
yeah, roughly
Uh,
around that in NC 500, yeah.
yeah, the 500. So we would say that you should have large caps, but they should not be 70% of your portfolio. So our flexi cap, I don't know how much it has, but it must be similar to what I have here. Broadly speaking, some 55 to 60%.
Right,
And
right,
in which IT is not there. Of
right.
course, we have another a large cap which has been a disaster for us in the last 3, 4 years. And if we did not have that, we would have been even happier. But
And
we
that had
have
nothing to do with IT.
it. And we are now so sad that we can give the name also. It's called HDFC. But anyway, so the bottom line is that large caps are good, but large caps alone don't give the zing that you need because their growth rates are quite low. And because of ITs once, because of even consumer sector growth
Yeah.
rate is low, or if even if growth rate is okay, the valuations are 60 multiple, and any time the market corrects, people remind that, oh, these stocks have very high valuation. So no need to overdo that also. And then these banks and all are doing nothing much. And then you have this oil and gas, which is affected either if oil goes up, then one group is affected, like the refineries, if oil goes down, then the other group is affected. So large caps are okay, but market overall is better than large caps, which means mid and small are better than large.
So what about cash? I mean, should we one be keeping cash in these money or ever in your portfolios as such?
Ever, we have tried everything.
Yeah.
In 30 years, I have even tried commodities. I have tried infrastructure stocks. I have tried IT, of course, for 20 years. Everything is tried, but you have to learn. And the learning is that it is not easy to get the cash call right. I've done it once. I did it after demonetization. Then we did it a little bit in 22 with the Ukraine war, but more than that because of the very high interest rates in US, which we thought will be very negative for US, which it was, but it didn't matter to the Indian market at that time. In 22, Indian market didn't fall. And in 16 end, the market fell for a few days, and then it suddenly went up because of flows into the funds because of demonetization for the same reason,
Right.
which hurt
The
the
same.
economy, fell the market. Another thing is if you read or think that if you have to credibly go to somebody and say that I will have 20, 30% cash. No, first of all, before that, if you go to raise money from an investor, the investor will say, what is your track record? So you will say, I have these 20 stocks, I have this, that, and this is my history, and this is my performance for the last X number of years. If you don't have any track record, you can still raise money by saying, we have a big team, we have people from different sectors who have come from industry, or they are doing this and that. If somebody asks you, you have 20% cash, what team do you have for this and how did you analyze? You say, I thought of it. One fellow will say, it felt in my bones. Okay, you can give some P, she argument, makes no sense. They'll say, okay, show us your track record for the cash. So the guy will say, in 2009 end or 8 end or 7 end, I raised cash. So one time. Maximum somebody has raised cash is maybe 3 times. So that means once or twice there was an opportunity. Both the times I got it right. फिर क्या हो
Right.
गया? It looks like a tukka to me also.
Right.
Because it's like a fund and somebody going and saying, I bought two stocks in my life, both turned out to go up well, so therefore I'm now a fund manager. No, no, no. It can be a fluke. You can be one half probability of being right, half wrong, let's say. So दो बार हो गया तो 0.5 into 0.5. You have to say, I did it 60 times and 100 times in stocks and for 10 years, and every day this happened, that happened over. It means there is not enough evidence to know that anybody, and I've been saying again and again, Mr. Buffett has not only lost maybe more than 150, $200 billion
Yeah.
by this
True.
cash, more importantly, he has left his successor in a very uncomfortable situation. Since he was a great allocator, he should have invested all this money and then given to the new guy. Now,
Okay.
aap socho, you have 300 billion, you give it to a new guy. Now, new guys under scrutiny every morning and evening, and you're supposed to make $100 to $200 billion investment according to them. I say they should make 10 investments of $30 billion each. They can finish it in 20 minutes. बट दे फॉर सम रीजन वांट टू मेक 100 बिलियन. वो नए बंदे को जो वैसे ही अंडर स्क्रूटनी, हाउ डू यू डू द एजीएम, हाउ डू यू आंसर क्वेश्चंस, प्रेस कैसे होगी, will 40,000 people turn up in Omaha? You're under stress for 100 things. Because suddenly imagine if instead of 50,000 people coming to Omaha this year, there are 3,000. Because people say, who's interested in listening to a new guy? उसके बाद वो 300 बिलियन भी इन्वेस्ट कर. अरे भाई, could have invested with him. So I'm saying these things are beyond just normal. I would say you can try, but it doesn't work. And one good example of that, as we say, is recent April. In
Yeah,
April month, NAVs are up 15% of
yeah,
everybody. So if you are making 5-6% on cash, because cash is not cash as
awesome.
everybody reminds, it is some debt
Yeah,
fund.
yeah,
It's 2 years of return gone in a month.
right. True, true, very true. But Sameer, that brings me to the another option. Basically, in the investment field, we get a lot of pressure from our distributors saying, "Why don't you start a global fund?" And I keep telling them, "Look, it doesn't make sense because we stopped our global fund, which we had."
Yeah, but no, we didn't stop it in the
Stopped
sense
our
because
subscriptions.
inflows into it. So we have this global fund from 2017. When did you invest? Same first month or later?
A couple of months later. Couple of months later.
In the first few months only.
First few months.
Okay. So now this fund is some 190 million. So it's not bad compared to the Indian international funds. But last year I realized, and this was doing well till middle of last year, when we realized that the formula so far was very easy. That your our benchmark is MSCI World. And to beat MSCI World, you buy mostly US stocks. Within US stocks, you buy mostly tech stocks. Within tech stocks, you buy four NASDAQ stocks or seven, eight NASDAQ stocks. These, NASDAQ means the mega cap or Mag 7 or whatever. And they would outperform. So Mag 7 was outperforming US Tech was outperforming US overall S&P, and S&P was anyway outperforming the world. तो हमने गूगल ले लिया, अमेजोन ले लिया, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ले लिया, मेटा ले लिया, नेटफ्लिक्स ले लिया और टेस्ला भी बीच में ले लिया, और बीच में बाय चांस एनवीडिया ले लिया. वी आर द हीरोज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. एंड लास्ट ईयर एवरीथिंग चेंज्ड आफ्टर अप्रैल when Trump reversed his tariff. Suddenly there was a big bull run. But that bull run, people think happened in US. It actually happened in rest of the world because of currency plus anyway the other markets. So last year suddenly you saw Korea is going up, Taiwan is going up, Brazil is going up, even Europe was going up, particularly when measured in US dollar.
Right, right.
And we are all mentally prepared to buy 20 IT stocks in US and little bit here and there. कैसे चलेगा? How will we suddenly in a small team? So same thing true for every Indian fund manager. Unless you have
True.
20 global and analysts who are in the international, somebody who knows Japanese, somebody who knows Chinese, and somebody who goes there and sits there and has an office there, कैसे चलेगा? So we are not interested. ये लोग सोचते हैं कि हर आदमी है fund manager wants AUM. We don't want AUM. We want NAV because the ego comes from NAV. So we shut the fund means we said now it's a bit complicated. We can't do it in the old way. So right now, no new money. And the old money is okay because they have enjoyed the return. So they say, okay, do what you want. So we are ourselves buying ETFs. So you can tell your distributor, we ourselves are buying ETF in our fund.
In our global fund. Right.
So you tell them to buy MSCI World ETF, MSCI World ex US ETF,
Yeah.
or if you want to
FSC
buy
Emerging
some
Asia,
China tech
ex-China.
fund, koi semiconductor fund. I actually bought double punt, little bit only 1% of the fund. Korean defense. So Korea plus defense, KDEF. The symbol is KDEF. अब punt मारना तो बहुत चीजें हैं. But directly buying stocks in a world is an impossible task. India में we can say we have 10 analysts, they have been doing this job, we are in one country, we follow
Right.
every day. वहाँ पे we are sitting in Mumbai or Singapore, I can just randomly buy. So cannot be done.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Thank you very much. Please give us for our Indian fund.
Okay, so that brings me to the other question since
But
we are on the
otherwise,
international.
world is good. World you should invest. Some
Okay.
25% जो डालने डालो, but it should be, yeah, why not? Why not? It's very good.
So, okay, so that brings me to the next question on the FPI bit. Fund portfolio investors, selling going on continues. What do you think? Will they ever come back to India? If they do, will it be a deluge, a trickle? And
So deluge,
what
so
do you
we,
want? What do you
deluge
want?
is a dream. So right now the thing is that they've been selling, and there have been a few this thing attempts to stop selling, and then we have had bad luck. So I'll show you some data, but just to big picture, in 25 is the only real odd year out for us in terms of flows. Let me show you, then only I can explain. Like, 1 second, let me see. So this is data from Goldman Sachs report, and this is showing FII flows year on year since 22. We can
Right,
get old data from an older report, but there. So if you see in 22, India, so the feeling is that for the last many years, Indians are not getting FI, which is absolutely true. And you can easily get much more than this if you do a few things like tax cut wala hai, matlab ye hata hai, which is India's odd. Not even one other country charges tax to foreign investors. But anyway,
right,
leave that. So India had 17 billion of outflow in 22, but the whole Asia had also 60. Okay, so
yeah,
you can say India in a proportion should have had, I don't know, let's say 15, but not plus minus much different. You know, दो चार इधर हो भी सकता है. I don't know the weights exact. But look at 23. So India got 21 out of 30. अच्छा, in 22, what happened for 60 billion outflow in general was the Ukraine war and very high interest rates in US increased, matlab the delta was very high from some 0.5% to 5% by end of the year. So obviously thumb rule ki, emerging markets get sold and blah blah blah. So the foreigners took out 60 billion and usme
right,
17 India ke. So it's not India's being
right,
isolated.
right.
Now, son, next year they said okay. So we got 21 out of 31. This is
Disproportionate, totally
absolutely
disproportionate.
disproportionate because
Right.
Korea, Taiwan are big. Now you see 24. Who knows what the reason was. But as far as we are concerned, India had 1 billion of outflow out of 23. So all these 3 years perfectly good.
Right,
Relative. 25, India is being isolated. 19 out of 40. मतलब 50% ले लो.
right,
But please note, even Korean Taiwan have had outflows. People think that because the Korean market is up some 100, 200%, they still had
right.
outflows. The reason for that is maybe they had outflows at the end of the year because the market went up so much. But in that market, please note there are two companies, Samsung Electronics and SK
Securities.
Hynix. If you remove, if with those companies and the whole market, earning growth this year is supposed to be 130%.
Right.
And if you remove these two companies, the earning growth is supposed to be 12%.
12%.
Okay, or something like, because these two companies are having earnings growth of 500% or pata nahi 600% or something. So, वो confusion है. But anyway, so we had 25 में India had outflows. Now, if we say what is our reason for having outflow, who knows? But the reason can be number one, separate reason. One is everybody is having outflow anyway. That India had a war with Pakistan in May. And May में ही थोड़ी रिकवरी हुई थी वर्ल्ड में आफ्टर द टैरिफ थिंग.
Right. He'd
So that
read
was
it.
in June, I think, May or June. So mean immediately when people could have been a little bit looking back, I mean, looking to put back India at the war. And then later on was absolutely unfair that India got isolated with a 50% tariff. So obviously then somebody will get confused, the top-down guys will get confused, quick currency will weaken, many things will happen. And so we got hit with the tariff war. So you can say we lost disproportionately, but not totally out of line, 19 out of 40. You know, 19 out of 19 नहीं था, या ये नहीं था कि we lost 19 and the rest of the world gained 19.
Right. Right.
This year, it all started a little better in Feb, particularly after the trade deal.
Yeah.
So February month, we again had positive flows. Matlab not much, but 2 billion, 1 billion, but something positive. And that we were very bullish then ki this trade deal is out of the way. And then came the war, this new war. So March again. So this data is till April 3rd or 4th. So maybe in April now the Koreans may have got some money. But as of here, if you see, India has lost
Massive
14
flows.
out of 72, which will be lower than its weight in the index.
Right.
So इतना भी end नहीं है. By the way, I'm going to US next week, this weekend.
Uh,
We are hoping to get money only, na? We are not hoping to give
I know when to give
So
them
let's,
money.
so we are at it.
Okay.
We are at it every day. Now the other one you can see is this is showing. So people say, "Are 40 billion we have lost since peak September 24 and all." Right? But you have to relate it to the market cap of the country also, no? So if you
Right.
see 2014, they say this one, Jan to March, sorry, 2008. So
Eight.
Jan to March in 14 whatever months ka chala. So Jan 8 to March 9. So 14 billion was a big number in those days, but it was
Right.
0.7% of the market. I mean, it was small. I mean, in today's context, a small number.
Right.
And now 45 billion,
Samir is right. Okay.
45 billion is 0.8%.
Right. So
अरे
it's
भाई
more or less.
we have grown in size.
Right. 14 was, yeah, okay. Now it's
So उससे
45.
अब लगता है होय previous to only have 14 billion of outflows. How can we have 45 billion? Ho.
Proportion wise, it's still the same.
It's like your specs. 5 years ago, you would have bought bloody plastic specs from the roadside guy.
I
I
got
would say my specs,
it.
your specs. So the point is, अब size के साथ सब काम होते हैं भैया. So it
Right.
is in the same range of 0.5, 0.7%. But even if you see it differently, out of whatever money they have sold 0.8% of their this thing. और हम कह रहे हैं कि एफआई तो छोड़ के चला गया, he left us behind. I still say it because the system should still react even to this, that
True.
reduce taxes, do whatever. But I'm saying generally it's not. It can be. It fits some framework. It's not wild.
So that now basically on the other question that we keep getting is oil, the elevated prices of oil, and how will it result in demand destruction? How will it? So
So oil is
just
a
your thoughts.
negative. Oil is a negative because we have to, because we still don't know how long this will continue. But if you see every month how much we lose, so we are importing 5 million barrels a day. Okay, India. So कितने हो गए? Suppose $25. अभी 65 का 90 हो गया अभी के लिए, let's say. पता
Right.
नहीं
So
कितना.
$25. Yeah.
So 25 into 5 with 125 million a day.
Right.
So साल के महीने के हो गए 4 बिलियन.
Right.
नहीं, for 1 month 4 billion.
Right.
So if you say this will last 3, 4 months, if you say last 1 year, that's a lot, 50 billion.
Yeah, that'll be
You
huge.
say last 3, 4 months, so it's 12 billion. So it's okay. We have 700 odd billion. उसमें आपका 12 billion कम हो गए. How did you get this 700 billion? Because you had gold which went up पता नहीं 40% last year. So
Right.
let's say you had, I don't know the numbers at all, but I'm just saying, say you had 60 billion of gold. So last year you made 24 billion from gold.
Unbelievable.
Give it back, man. It's not कि वो तो हमारा हो गया.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like I've been saying, RBI should also have this, like our banks do. When they sell something, they get some old recovery, they put it aside and put it in a new provision. So you made obscene amount of money from gold. That money should be kept aside for days like this. Ki we have this extra 24 billion which we never thought we will make. Now we
Right.
are giving 12 billion back. What is the big deal? It's just a matter of. So even in absolute, forget about that. 700 billion became 688 for this
Right.
reason alone. तो क्या हो गया फिर? The other reason people say is that for this, just is to complete, that the private equity guys are selling a lot. They are selling पता नहीं 30, 40 billion a year. How will we handle? We don't have to handle. They can only exit if my stock market is strong.
If sorry, if
If the stock market is
market is
strong,
strong, yeah.
you can't keep taking out 30, 40 billion if the market is not strong.
True.
So, if the market is strong for whatever reason, you will be allowed to take out your private equity money. Otherwise, you are not getting out. So, उसको
Yeah.
independently लेना है.
Right.
It is
Right.
not
Right.
independent that they are selling. ना, it will not be done. खत्म हो गई बात. So वो अलग से बात हो रही है उसकी. But oil is, I mean, otherwise in absolute it is a negative, and I think the biggest negative is the way we deal with the Indian currency. It is just a bit, now it has become a bit embarrassing. A natural depreciation is not enough. Why we have to effectively, it's too much. That is a bit of a chicken and egg. If you keep letting it, then people will keep selling. because the whole world is looking at currency as the benchmark.
Benchmark.
Uska now it is beyond my pay scale कि उसका क्या किया जाए, but otherwise for Indian guys it's okay whatever it is. Do
We
I
need
have
to
my
charge. We
map
need to
of
charge extra fees if you want a view on the. That's what you should tell us.
we will have to read a few books of that separately.
Anyway, so Samir, my final question. Obviously, the viewers will really curse me if I don't ask you this final question about the market view.
ये
Everybody
market view
wants that
आता है.
from you.
The market view is that if you look at घूम फिर के, in English it means plus minus, you still end up making okay money to good money. So
Right,
let us say everybody agrees that last 1.5 years have been this very depressing. So from September 24, we just learned yesterday that Helios is up only some, Helios Flexi Cap is up some 1%, which I tweeted somebody's analysis, and the average guys were down some 7-8%. So, but basically, no return, 1% from September 24 to now. But if you look at the four funds differently that we have, or whatever we have, and we launch them at different times within the last 2-3 years, so what is the return? So, Flexi Cap was launched in November 23.
right,
Now, whatever may happen in between, we didn't know that timing, वो घूम फिर के था 50% plus minus.
right. Yeah.
Then we launched the large and mid cap fund in October
October 24.
24. So that means how many months? Say
Uh,
18 months.
1 year, yeah, or almost 18 months.
No, it's 15, 16 months, right?
Yeah,
Margin. Yeah. So in 16 months is up some 10, 11%. No great deal, but 5, 6% return बन गया, which is what you would have got from putting in a bank. So if your hurdle is not Korean stock market, then and it is Indian alternative, then in a bad phase, which is considered a bad market, which had two wars, Indian war and now Middle East war, which had oil crisis, which had whatever else, tariff, where we started with high valuation, if you think. So all that के बाद you made same as bank. Then the third fund we did was the mid cap fund.
mid cap fund.
In this period, don't say which day, in this period, in 1 year and a few days, it's up 25%.
Right, right.
First
Yeah,
fund is up 50% in 2.5 years.
right,
Second fund is at least giving bank type return.
right,
And fourth fund is down 3-4%, which is the
right.
small. So
Small cap.
ठीक है ना, मतलब it is not कि oh ho India is or the investors are bleeding to death and therefore जो कहते हैं SIPs will stop ये वो चल रहा है. So going forward, if we think that the earnings growth will be 12 type percent for now. पहले I was thinking and we were all thinking 15, but now एक quarter तो ये खराब करेगा ऑयल
Right,
का, तो
right.
2-3% ऐसी big picture में हटा दें. But that is an aggregate. Because mostly what will happen is that these big shift in earnings will happen in some big companies like oil and gas company or some paint company or somebody who will have this, that. But normal fellow will not have 25% less earnings. But aggregate में क्या होता है, some of these guys they have big swings in earnings. Mostly commodity वाले होते हैं, oil and gas वाले होते हैं, कभी plus 2 months, कभी या ये ऑटो वाले, फॉरेन ऑटो वाले हमारे होते हैं, टाटा मोटर टाइप. So each company individually is not going to lose
Not good.
5% on earning, maybe 3-5% here or there. So therefore, all in all, you'll say 12%
Right,
for now, provided in the next 2 months and without increasing a lot first, this war ends.
right. So the longer it draws along, the longer the pain
The longer
is, the
फिर क्या होगा
shorter.
कि then there'll be remittance issues मिडिल ईस्ट में, वो बेचारे एम्प्लॉइज की नौकरियां जाएंगी या सैलरीज कट हो जाएंगी and all that. Then that's be there. But that I can't imagine that is going on and
That's
on
what.
for long.
So we're working with that this quarter
Cash,
is.
आप 2 महीने cash रख लो. By the way, cash पे, this you see all these guys, because we are the pretty too simple. So some people will say, I have this model which says that today is not a good day to buy a large cap. They say mid cap, I'm deliberately saying large cap. Or they will say, we have this model which says don't buy equities. They don't say don't buy equities and keep the cash. They will say don't buy equities, but by the way, we have a multi-asset fund in case you want to buy. Not in case you want to buy, please buy that. Or no, I have a gold fund. Where are you going?
Give me your
तो
money.
घूम फिर के people think these guys are giving very proper advice. उनके पास सारे हैं.
That's why they
कहते
agree.
हैं आप A मत लो B ले लो. इसमें इंडिपेंडेंस क्या होगी? That is okay. Independence would be, should say, there is nothing we have to sell to you. You keep the money in a bank deposit and keep in touch, and we will let you know.
We let you
Or
know.
another model, we don't like the market, but give us the money anyway, and we will sit on cash. तो फिर इसमें क्या है यार? इससे अच्छा आप कहो कि कम पैसे दे, हम पूरे इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं, फिर देखी जाएगी. But bottom line is, it's okay market, and you don't have too many alternatives. थोड़े बहुत आप इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं abroad में, but it is not. In the end, it will come back to annualized earnings related gains, which will be 12-13%, because that is what nominal India will still grow
Right.
at 6-7% GDP, 4-5% inflation. और घूम फिर के it will do it. It has done it all its life. It's not going to suddenly stop. And as I said, even now, if you look at it over last 1 year, 2 years, it's not that people are all. If you take very particular points, September 24, 23rd September से yeah, फिर हो सकता है. But that's not how people invest now. They didn't all invest one day on that day.
Thank you, Samir.
Thank you,
It was
Ji.
again fun to record this one with you, as always. And I hope the viewers also find it as interesting as we found
और
it
आपने ये नहीं
talking.
बताया कि मार्च में our AMC invested how many crores?
Oh, yeah. So the insiders, I mean, as in voluntarily
And the AMC
invested,
also
the AMC also invested something like 5+ crores
in
in the month
March.
of March itself.
That is right.
Right.
Of
So
course,
that's
we are
good. We have
making even
that.
10% on that. 12% would have been the money at all. But
Yes.
we didn't, I don't think you got it. You didn't buy it on the
I
market.
don't think so. Not at the bottom or so we've got it on the way down, I think so that way. But
ठीक है
anyway,
जी,
we
okay
were
भाई.
in it. Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.